Hey guys, welcome to this week's episode of What Can We Eat, where we will be tackling my favorite food group, pasta, but also my least favorite food group, cream sauces. I'm actually doing this just because I realized how easy it is to make Alfredo, and everyone else in my house actually likes Alfredo. So we're gonna make a really simple Alfredo sauce and a really simple red sauce for me, so we don't have to have too many pots going. So let's get started. So I didn't mention this in the intro, but we're actually going to grill some chicken to put over the Alfredo for, well, chicken Alfredo. So I like to actually put some blackening seasoning on the chicken, so the Cajun seasoning mixed with the Alfredo has a really good contrast of creamy and spicy. So let's get these on the grill while we do the rest of our steps. So the next thing we're going to do is shred a wedge of fresh Parmesan. We're going to need 2 cups of this for the sauce, and you'll still have some left over to put on top of your pastas. As far as that really simple tomato sauce, all we're going to do is take a can of the diced Italian style tomatoes. You know, the one that has the garlic and olive oil already inside? Yeah, that one. Drain out the extra liquid, and I actually use just a magic bullet and give it a few pulses to kind of smooth it out. I'm sure you could use an immersion blender or a regular blender and just pulse it a few times to get a sauce-like consistency. I like mine a little bit chunkier. Perfect. So we'll put that aside while we finish the rest of our steps, which brings us to the noodles. So I'm actually going to use some egg noodles, a medium-sized egg noodle, and get those cooked and put aside and ready for our sauce when that's done. It's also at this point that I realized I probably shouldn't have put my camera directly over the steam coming out of the pot, but hey, what are you going to do? Alright, it's finally time to get started on that Alfredo sauce. So we have a pan that's on low, about a number 3 on the stove. I'm going to start with a half a cup of butter, or 1 whole stick. I like to add that first and just let it melt down by itself just for about maybe 30 to 45 seconds. After that, we're doing 1.5 cups of heavy cream. And again, just get that stirring. This one's going to take a bit, maybe a minute, 2 minutes to really get that all fully incorporated. Alright, now that that's all nice and mixed together, we're going to start with the rest of our ingredients. We're going to use 2 teaspoons of minced garlic. I just used the one from the jar, kind of being stubborn there. Then half a teaspoon of the Italian seasoning, you know, that one that's like a medley of all the dried herbs. Then half a teaspoon of salt. Again, this one's being a little stubborn and sticking to the glass. And finally, a 1/4 teaspoon of pepper. Alright, then once again, just go ahead and stir that around, make sure everything gets nice and incorporated. We also want to make sure the garlic gets nice and warmed up and starts cooking, so you'll start to smell that when it gets to that point. Now, my favorite part of the recipe are 2 cups of freshly grated Parmesan cheese. And yes, please make sure you are using freshly grated cheese. The pre-packaged shredded cheese does have some extra additives to prevent it from sticking together. And those additives can translate to your sauce and make it a little more clumpy than you'd like. So this will ensure you have a nice smooth finish. Once you've been stirring that for a couple of minutes and your whisk is coming out clean, it's time to move on to the next step, which is incorporating our cooked noodles into the sauce. So go ahead and get your noodles over to the sauce. Now bring in a few pinches of that pasta water too, because all those starches that came out of the noodles are going to help thicken up that sauce and get it nice and, well, thick. And at this time, our chicken is also ready to take off the grill. As you can see, it is beautifully cooked with that seasoning, and we're going to start plating everything up. So starting with that Alfredo, we're going to give it just a few pinches here into the bowl. We have our chicken that's been cut up that we're going to place right on top there. Looking great. And then a few pinches of that leftover Parmesan from earlier. Of course, we can't forget about our red sauce, so a little bit more pasta into the bowl here. And we're going to top it with our red sauce, which I just kept in my little magic bullet cup. And got a little bit more of that Parmesan right on top. And it's looking good. Well, that's it for today's episode. Thank you all so much once again for watching. I appreciate it, and we'll see you next week.